Hey guys, my name is Franklin Lorenzo and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am excited to announce that it is sponsored by Luminar Neo. In today's industry of photography, when we ask other creators what type of photographers they are, they tend to say that they're either a fashion photographer, portrait photographer, product, landscape, etc. But at the core, all photographers fall within one or multiple of the following categories. The first one would be a photo purist. This type of photographer does not like to alter their images whatsoever, and they post them / share them as they are shot without any adjustments. The next type of photographer are the photo-naturalists. These people do change their images, but the ultimate goal is to make the photos look as natural as possible. Followed by photo-realists. These are the type of photographers who would often change things in the image, whether it is the sky, the foreground, the floor. They might add an object that was not there, but the ultimate goal is to still make it look as real as possible, even though they alter the image far more than what was captured. And finally, we have the type of photographers who are photo-surrealists. These are the type of photographers who change everything and welcome everything. At this point, these are more image creator rather than photographers, but obviously they use photography as a means to create their images. They might incorporate elements that are not natural or real, and therefore that's why it's called photo-surrealist. As mentioned before, some photographers either stick to one of those or they tend to mix one from the other. And this is where I feel Luminar Neo comes into place. If you are a photo purist and you don't do anything to your images, you can simply use the software to store your images and organize them. And then for everybody else, whether you are a photo naturalist, realist, or surrealist, you can use the software in multiple ways to enhance your images. I do like to point out though that like any other software that I personally use, whether it's Photoshop or Lightroom or Luminar Neo, I often use these programs to show proof of concept for my clients. That way I know that we're going in the right direction, and once I get the green light, then I can spend multiple hours retouching the final images. And another very important thing to mention is that while there are photographers who fall within those four categories, there are also clients who fall within those same categories as well. Some clients like photos that look surreal. Some clients like their photos to look as natural as possible, and some clients don't like their photos to be touched whatsoever. We're now going to switch over to my desktop so that I can take you on a quick overview of what the software is and what it does. Keep in mind that I will not be spending a lot of time trying to fine-tune the images. It's just to show you the technology and how you can use it. And then at the end, you will make a determination whether the software is a good fit for you. All right, guys, so this is Luminar Neo. And as you can see at the top right, there are 3 tabs in the center, which says catalog, and then it has presets and edit. Let's start on with the catalog and let's work on this photo that I shot in Bali, Indonesia. More specifically in Nusa Penida of the famous dinosaur head. And I'm gonna click on edit, and then on the right side I'm going to click where it says enhance. And normally I always like to push the slider all the way so that I can see what is the effect. And you can click on the little eye icon to see the before and after. Obviously you should move the slider to whatever position makes you happy. For example, on this one, I think the effect was too strong, so I dialed it down. Then I'm going to go ahead and go on to structure, and I'm going to see what the effect does by clicking on the little eye icon. As you can see, it created more sharpness, sort of like their own version of clarity. And then I move on to the tab that says landscape, and here I'm going to enhance the foliage. And as you can see, the green becomes way more prominent and saturated, and obviously find a part of the slider that makes you happy. And one of the things that you can use is dehaze, because I use a telephoto lens, and telephoto lenses tend to shoot through a lot of atmosphere like humidity and dust, etc. So by using dehaze, you can bring more clarity to your images. So now we're going to go ahead and move back to the catalog, and let's work on this photo my friend also taken in Bali. And let's say I want to bring more attention to her. Let's say I didn't have a lens, or I could not afford a lens that is f1.2 or something in the like, but I want the background to go more out of focus so that all of the attention falls on her. So what you can do, move on to where it says portrait bokeh, and I'm going to go ahead and max out the slider and let the software do its thing. Sometimes it can take a couple of seconds, and as you can see, it completely blurs out the background without affecting her. This would take so much longer on other software. But here, by clicking on the little eye icon, you can see the before and after, and it is truly incredible what it's able to do with just that slider. Then you can actually fine tune it if you like. But now let's go ahead to face, because I want to bring a little bit of more light to her face, and I'm just gonna move the slider just a bit and just see before and after to see if I like it. And yes, that looks pretty damn good. And as you can see, it didn't affect any other area of the photo. So now let's go back to another image. Let's move quickly. This photo has already been finalized, but I just want to see what it will look like with a preset. So let's go ahead and click on the presets tab at the top in the center, and then let's try something to make it. I like this particular one called close up, and I wanted to give it more of a glow. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on it, and the good thing is that it always shows you what the image will look like, and then obviously you can bring down the slider to an area that will make you happy. Obviously the software takes its time rendering because this is a large file. So let me see and there it is. You can see it has more of a glow, so she looks a little warmer, and you can play with a wide variety of presets. So now let's go back again and let's work on this image. And let's say for whatever reason you wanted to have sun rays coming through. So go on the edits tab once again, and you're going to find the tab that says sun ray. Click on it, go ahead and move the slider to your liking. And once you do that, then you're going to place the sun. So you just got to drag the little white ball and place it where you want it. And as you can see, the effects change depending on where in the image you put it, because it actually acts as if it's behind the leaves or branches, etc. Once you place it, you can play with the parameters to see how strong you want it. If you want it to glow more, if you want it to be warmer or cooler, or if you want the sun rays to go all the way through the image or just halfway or just a bit. So the good thing is that you have a lot of control to fine tune the image to what you want. And again, you can turn it on and off to see what the effect is. And as you can see, by adding the sun rays, it added more contrast to the image as if the sun was actually there, which makes it more believable. So this would be a good example for photo-naturalists. Now here, let's go on to face and let's work on the eyes. As you can see, I'm going to bring this slider almost all the way. And as you can see, it almost acts as if the photographer placed a reflector underneath the subject, thus giving you that beauty light look. And as you can see, it really does bring the eyes to life. Then by clicking on skin, you can check this box so it can remove blemishes. Sometimes it does a fantastic job, and sometimes it works just a bit like it did on this image. But the good thing is that you have more than just that box to work with. Now you can move the sliders all the way and see what it does. And as you can see, it completely smooths out her skin. I know some clients who like that, whereas I also know clients that don't like that whatsoever. So you can play with that and then run it by the client, and you don't have to spend so many hours trying to retouch. Rather, show them a proof of concept and see in which direction they want to move in. And obviously, your own artistic interpretation should come into play, but it's really fantastic to just be able to push sliders and not have to deal with so many things. Moving on to the next photo of my friend who was shot recently here in New York City. Let's go to the edits tab one more time, and let's go to where it says body. Click on it. Now you can constrict the midsection here, or you can make it larger depending on what the person wants, as well as constrict the abdomen. And yes, you do have fine tuning with the mask, so that way the warping around doesn't happen. But again, this is a great way to show proof of concept. Some people don't like their bodies altered whatsoever, and some people do. So If the client didn't tell you and you didn't ask, just play with that. Moving on, let's go to a preset and let's add a black and white, and let's diminish the strength so it's not so contrasty. And then click on the edits tab. This is their develop module where I'm going to increase the shadows to recover some of the detail. And again, before and after. And last but not least, let's work on a photo that I took of myself. The photo technically doesn't need work, but let's see what the software does with the face slider. And let's try to enhance the eyes, lighten the face just a little bit more. And it's just absolutely cool to just be able to affect certain areas of the photos. And again, dealing with the sliders so that you have more fine-tuning controls. Here I'm showing you the before and after, but let me see what it will look like a little closer. There we go. Now let's turn it off. Before, after. Look at the eyes, how much more light they have in them, or how much more light in quotation they're reflecting. All right, so let's take a look at one feature that Luminar is really known for doing an extremely good job. And let's go to the edits tab, and then we are going to go over to where it says sky, and you can replace the sky practically for any photo. And you also have additional controls. So let's say I want to change this sky, which doesn't have a lot going on, to maybe a few clouds. So let's click on it and see. Look at what a magnificent job it already did on the first try. Let's say I'm not happy with it. You can always keep clicking around. And that looks more believable. You obviously have this area down here where you get the sky orientation, mask refinement, scenery lighting, reflection, and other sky adjustments. So you get a lot of control, and this is where the surreal part can come in, and you can add this sort of galaxy to a date scene, those making it surreal. And obviously you can play around, and as you can see, the masking is pretty damn good. So play around with that feature. It's really fun to use it. And that is the overview of Luminar Neo. Now the great thing is that you can always set your photos back by just double clicking and then basically revert the photos back to their original form. So it works in a non-destructive way, which is something that I really like. So you can use the software to store your images, you can share, you can send them to other software to further fine tune or work on them. And this has been Luminar Neo. And that was the Luminar Neo overview. If you're interested in getting this software and you want to save 10% on any of the 3 subscriptions, use promo code LIRANZO. And with that, I'm going to end the video. And like always, if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and clicking on the little bell so you get notified of my future videos. Until next time, and like always, take care.